Hi, my name is Melissa Payne. I'm a certified teacher of biology. I've been teaching biology for 25 years at the AP and the IB level. And what I'd like to do over the next month and a half leading up to the exams is teach one concept per day that will help you with your exams. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the equation for photosynthesis. So you should be familiar with this. I just want to give you a little bit of insight about what this equation is actually doing. And I'm going to connect all of this equation to the parts of the leaf, the parts of the cell, and where this is actually happening. So we have the inputs, and those are carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide literally gets caught from the air, and that's going to go inside the plant, inside the cell, and it's going to be turned into glucose. That's the light independent reaction. So I'm actually capturing gaseous carbon. I'm going to fix it, which means I'm going to do carbon fixation, which is I'm going to it's like squish it until it's solid, and it's going to get turned eventually into glucose. So that's the light independent reaction. The light dependent reactions, I'm going to put those in yellow, is where I take the water. I'm going to have that react with the green of chlorophyll. So I'm literally going to have the water inside my leaf. It's going to react with the sun's energy, and it's going to produce oxygen. And this oxygen is actually a waste for the plant. It does not need oxygen during the day. So that's kind of an interesting thing because we need it. You'll notice that if you flip this back around, boop, that's going to be the cell respiration reaction. So they're the exact inverse, although they operate slightly differently. Okay, so a thing to think about is where are we? So we are actually in the leaf. Okay, so you literally have to think about this as a leaf, and I'm going to take that leaf. I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm looking at a leaf as a cross section. And you think about this and how tiny that is. It's so thin. And that rib across here, that rib goes all the way down and connects to the roots. So that rib right there, this is the vascular bundle. It contains the xylem. And the xylem is going to be what moves the water up from the root to the leaf. So that action is gonna happen. That is actually going to happen by a process called transpiration. And so transpiration is this process of the water coming up from the roots. The water is going to come up from the roots and go all the way up to the top of the plant. And if you notice, zooming in on the plant right here, you notice the water is actually coming out of the leaf as it gets up. It's actually being pulled by the roots in order to get to the top of the leaf. And when that sun hits the leaf, the water is going to actually come out of the stomata, which I'm going to touch on in a minute. Okay, so then we have the stomata. So usually mostly underneath the leaf so that we don't lose too much. That's where the carbon dioxide is going to come inside. So that carbon dioxide is going to go inside these little tiny cells called guard cells that are going to open and close. And I've got an image of those on the next slide. Okay, so when the stomata is closed, or stomata is the plural, when one stoma is closed, it does not allow carbon dioxide in, and it also doesn't allow water out. So on hot days, the stoma will stay closed. Then the stoma will open, that will allow the water to move out and the carbon dioxide to come in. We want the carbon dioxide to come in, but we want to lose as little as water as possible. And this is just a little image of what those actually look like. It almost looks like an eye opening and closing. So that's the stomata. So we're inside of a plant cell, right? So you're always seeing these plant cells. You're seeing the cell wall, the cell membrane, and the chloroplast. So inside that chloroplast, once we've been inside the leaf, that plant cell is going to be how the carbon dioxide molecules get in, how the water molecules get in through the process of diffusion. So the carbon dioxide's coming in through the stomata, and the water's coming up through the roots inside the xylem. That xylem you can see right here, those vascular bundles. If you've ever eaten broccoli and you get that stuff stuck in your teeth, that's a big vascular bundle. And that's how the water's getting up, and that carbon dioxide is coming in through the stoma or the stomata. I'm zooming in on something called the chloroplast. So I'm going to go back right here. So that's the chloroplast. That's the structure that is the functional unit of where photosynthesis takes place inside that organelle. So that organelle, if you zoom inside of it, you see that double membrane. That double membrane, you might link that back to a concept called endosymbiosis. So that double membrane's there. And you've got these thylakoid membranes inside of here. And this space all around here. So there's thylakoid membranes that look like little pancakes to me. I always think of them like little pancakes, little stack of pancakes catching light. And then there's all this space in between here. Blah, 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 blah. That space in between there is called this is called the stroma. That's where the sugar gets made. So the light reactions are in the thylakoid and the stroma is where the light independent reactions occur. Let's keep going. So we're inside of a leaf, inside of a plant cell, inside of the organelle called the chloroplast. Okay, so I'm going to just do the simplest diagram of a chloroplast. One of the things I really believe in is like you have to really understand the big picture of biology and then zoom in a little bit more and zoom in a little bit more in order for you to have a really clear concept of what's happening at the biological level. So we're going to go back. I was in the leaf. So I was in the leaf, in a plant cell, and now I'm going inside that chloroplast. And that chloroplast contains even something smaller inside, and that's called the thylakoid. And then this space around here is called the stroma. So you'll notice there's a double membrane here. So we've got a double membrane right here. That's an evidence for the endosymbiotic theory. We've got two layers. That was probably where endocytosis occurred. And this thylakoid membrane is also double membrane. So one, two membranes, and that's going to be a phospholipid bilayer. Anytime you see a membrane, it's a phospholipid bilayer. And this is where the photo part is going to occur. So all of the photo part is going to occur at that level. And that's going to be literally where the photo part occurs. So we're seeing those little green dots. Those little green dots are the chlorophyll that capture the sunlight. That's where the photo part of photosynthesis occurs. Then we've got the stroma. So I've only drawn one thylakoid. We know there's many, but all in this part of the stroma, all this stuff here, all that stuff here, this is where the synthesis occurs. So this is where the carbon dioxide from the air comes in, gets fixed, goes through a process of carbon fixation. So I'm going to do carbon fixation, which is taking a gas into a solid. And I'm going to take that gas that's been turned in from a solid, and I'm going to turn it into a glucose molecule. So that happens in the stroma. That space all around here is called the stroma. So the thylakoid is the light reactions, and the stroma is the space all around, and that's where carbon fixation and the Calvin cycle occurs. Okay, just a little recap. So I'm looking at this as a simple drawing, but in fact, there's a lot more complexity to it because there's many thylakoids, and they're stacked together and they have little transport paths, but the overall action's happening in the thylakoid. So what's happening in the thylakoid? So that water that came up from the xylem is going to go into the thylakoid, and it's going to react on that chlorophyll. There's chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. That light reaction, what's going to happen is literally, it's almost like a vibration. So when the light hits the green of the chlorophyll, it's literally going to break that water apart. It's literally going to separate it, break that water apart. The hydrogens are going to go into the middle. So the red symbolic hydrogens are going to go into the middle. They're going to go right into the middle. The hydrogen ions are going to go right into the middle. After you have two water molecules, you're going to have an oxygen gas. That oxygen gas is going to get kicked out as waste. We don't need the oxygen. It's lost as a waste. And I'm going to build up these hydrogen ions inside of the thylakoid. And those hydrogen ions inside the thylakoid are going to be what powers the reaction to create energy. So that photolysis is that, that photolysis is that process where the water gets broken up into hydrogen ions and the oxygen gets kicked out. There's two processes with that that's going to create ATP and NADPH. The electrons are going to bounce through to make the NADPH, and the hydrogens are going to go through an ATP synthase to make that ATP. Okay? Big picture. You might recognize that process, thinking about that process from the buildup of hydrogens in mitochondria when we do cell respiration and the electron transport chain. There's a bunch of similarities, but I don't want to go too deep. I want to keep us in the big picture. Okay. You might have seen something like this. This is zooming in. This right here, all across here, this is that thylakoid membrane. So where in my last image, I just drew this as those two circles like this, and I put a hydrogen ion in the middle. That is the thylakoid membrane, and I'm just zooming in right at one little tiny spot of that. And what you see is a phospholipid bilayer. This should be recognizable from another unit that you've covered. That right there, our phospholipid bilayer. And this is what they call the electron transport chain. This is what's actually powering the process of producing NADPH. And all those hydrogens that were built up go through an ATP synthase to produce ATP. That's the summary of the light reactions. You'll see that same activity happening in the mitochondria. So again, you recognize those phospholipids. We've got embedded proteins, and we're going to make ATP with an ATP synthase. Okay, so then we have our light independent reactions. So from my light dependent reactions, what I did is I had the energy carrying molecules, and if you notice, they were called ATP and NADPH. So the result of that was an energy carrier, or two energy carriers. One's called ATP and NADPH. Those were a product of the light reactions. So that was the final goal of the light reactions. But I don't use them in the light reactions. I use them in the light independent reactions. So we go in that stroma, we open up that stroma, we get the carbon dioxide inside. The carbon dioxide comes inside and it goes through something called the Calvin cycle. And it's called a cycle because it's constantly moving. It's constantly being produced as long as there's energy. If there is energy, the Calvin cycle will continue. This is why they call it the light independent reaction. So it's independent of light, but what it does depend on, it depends on the presence of the energy carriers. So as soon as those energy carriers run out, the light independent reaction stops. So there is carbon dioxide coming in. The carbon dioxide is going to go from gas to solid. That process from gas to solid is called carbon fixation. So carbon fixation is going to solidify that gas. The Calvin cycle will use that ATP and NADPH to produce a glucose. That's the goal of the light independent reactions. That glucose will then get turned into cellulose to make the plant cell walls. It'll get turned into amino acids. It will get turned into starch, as well as a lot of the other, as all of the other macromolecules inside of the plant, with a little help of the fertilizer that's coming up from the water in the xylem. So let's just quickly have a quick summary of photosynthesis. So we have our light reactions and our location in the chloroplast. So our light reaction, our location in the chloroplast is the thylakoid membrane. Do this along with me. I'm just like going slow. Okay, what gets put into the light reactions? Well, it's water, it's light photons, and if we want to be really picky, it's the used up ADP and the NADP plus that was from the last light independent reaction. And my output is going to be oxygen gas as a waste. It's not needed for this process. And ATP and NADPH. The light independent reaction is all that space around the thylakoid, and we call that the stroma, which is the space around the thylakoid. And the inputs of it are the ATP and the NADPH from the light reactions, as well as carbon dioxide. My outputs are going to be glucose, and if I want to be really picky, ADP and NADP plus. And these will literally go and feed in to the next cycle. I hope that really gives you a broad perspective about photosynthesis. If you have any more questions, send me a note. I can go into more detail, but I want to keep it big picture. And I hope that helped. Take care.